Because I'm up here trying to pull focus. I won't pull focus if I don't have to. David, don't you think that they should bring that out?
I'll never disrespect your mom.
Just raise my mom with your camera.
Mom, that would never disrespect your mom.
Don't you ever do that again. You just almost hurt my mom. Don't you ever even think about it.
Post Malone, you a bitch. You suck.
That's rude.
Thank you. You're standing on this young lady's foot. You noticed that?
She's not young and I wasn't.
Gave me so many songs come out of bad times in life.
Can you hear him? Rude.
But it's like that, where you just like woke up, bedhead. I think we need a little more bedhead, because it's Sleeping Beauty.
I cannot take photos with everyone, but I will stand here and wave if you'd like to take a photo. I cannot sign too many of you.
Madame Madonna is one of the biggest divas around. She's particularly difficult to work for because she's such a perfectionist. For one, she hates germs and doesn't want them to be anywhere near her. Before her concert in France, for example, Madonna had all the toilets, showers, and sinks removed, scrubbed down, and then reinstalled. Madonna also reportedly has a food intake assistant whose job it is to monitor everything that Madonna puts in her mouth. Madonna's actually admitted to having a food assistant in an interview with the Mirror. She said, "I call her the food police. Are you eating? Did you drink enough water?" So basically this person's job is to allow Madonna to get mad at them whenever she eats because she doesn't want to eat. How is that normal? What the f***? Madonna, I love you, but how does that make any sense? Ariana Grande apparently likes to be carried. It helps that she's very small, but whenever she doesn't feel like walking, she wants to be carried like a baby. She will ask her assistants to pick her up so that her feet aren't hitting the floor. So I gotta admit, this one seemed like a little bit crazy, but Ariana's actually confirmed the fact that she likes to be carried in an Instagram post. A couple of Instagram posts. Caption, "Post-show ritual when my feet are broken," and "long shoot yesterday, couldn't walk or keep my eyes open by the time we finished." There's also a ton of pictures of Ariana Grande being carried all over the internet. She's not being carried on the internet, the pictures, shut up. Although it is one of my fantasies to be carried everywhere by men like an Egyptian queen. I can't imagine actually demanding it of people. Is this what fame does? Does anyone know? I feel like that's what happens. You just feel like you have the right to be carried everywhere. At number 8 on our list we have Sarah Jessica Parker. Sex and the City star and fashion icon Sarah Jessica Parker is reportedly a little bit quirky. Leaked emails revealed just how quirky. According to former staffer Michelle Collins, she instructs staff to fill a tiny 1.5 ounce container of Vaseline for her kids. The cutlery used to fill the Vaseline has to be hand washed using a paper towel, and then it has to go through the dishwasher. Her son's bottle of face wash and body wash must be always replenished. Staff can't buy multiples of products, they must monitor the products until the product runs out and then replace that product immediately. Also, apparently Jessica practices witchcraft, which is like, kinda no surprise. Hocus pocus anybody? At number 7 we have Demi Moore. Demi Moore loves some good lighting. Girl, same. But her obsession with good lighting is a bit more severe than most of us. Demi Moore reportedly can't look at herself in the mirror unless the lighting is perfect. An assistant revealed amber bulbs are the order of the day at Demi's house. She believes softer light is more flattering and has cases of bulbs in her home in case the bulbs ever get discontinued. At number 6 on our list we have Frank Sinatra. I love me some Frank Sinatra. Damn. But the legendary jazz singer has some pretty interesting quirks. So you know Sinatra's hat? Yeah, that was apparently there to cover up his bald spot. Talk about hat fishing. Am I right, ladies? If you don't know what hat fishing is, it's this thing where like guys will have a bald spot and they'll wear a hat to cover it up, and then they'll take the hat off and you're like, whoa, I didn't know you were bald. I know it's mean, but it's something that happens. You know, I'd like to know. I'd like to know in advance. In his memoir, Mr. S, My Life with Frank Sinatra, his butler, back then stars had butlers, not personal assistants, George Jacobs, revealed he had to spray cover up on his boss's bald patch every single day. Spray my hands so they can't see my bald spot. Yes, Sinatra, anything for you, Sinatra. One for my bald spot and one more for the road. George would also have to pay for the nighttime lady visitors who would come by Sinatra's place. You'd think he wouldn't have to pay for that sort of thing. Also, apparently Sinatra wore this specially made underwear designed to hold his impressive package. And this underwear George would have to go pick up and find whenever he was at events. Halfway there at number 5 we have Jessica Simpson. Jessica and her assistant Casey Cobb seem like best friend goals, but before Cobb, Jessica went through a ton of personal assistants. One of them only lasted 2 weeks because, quote, she was too smart to work for Jessica. Many of her assistants hated working for her. One source told the Star that Jessica Simpson would dine and dash, as in she wouldn't pay the bill when she went out to restaurants or bars. The assistant claims that Jessica thought her stardom was payment enough. Jessica also reportedly drops her hair extensions all over the place, to the point where it looks like animals have been shedding all over the house. I'm so enjoying this. Anyone else enjoying these? I'm really having fun. At number 4 we have Mel B. Mel B's former personal assistant and friend came forward with a ton of scary accusations about this Spice Girl. Gary Matatayan filed a lawsuit against Mel after she apparently didn't pay him $200,000 while he worked as her hairstylist and PA. Matatayan was very close with Mel, almost too close. He did everything for her, to the point where he had no personal life. He couldn't see his friends or family because he was always working for Mel. He also described incidents where Mel was drunk and violent with her children. Gary said that at her lowest point, Mel would drink 3 bottles of wine a day and multiple tequila shots, which would make her delusional and paranoid. At number 3 we have Taryn Manning. This Orange is the New Black star has reportedly been violent toward her assistant, which might be why she got the role she got on Orange is the New Black. Her former assistant's name is Hillian Hartman. Manning was ordered to stay away from Hartman after the two had a vicious brawl at the Dream Hotel in New York that left her assistant covered in bruises. According to the lawsuit, she choked and punched her personal assistant and whipped her with a wet towel. She also sprayed Windex in her eyes and mouth. Doesn't taste very good, trust me. Taryn was charged with misdemeanor assault and choking. At number 2 we have Cat Williams. It's too bad Cat Williams is such a, how do I put this nicely, psycho. Aside from being a really funny comedian, he has a long history of domestic abuse, assault, and violence towards dogs. But one former assistant, Angela Triplett Hill, claims Williams beat women in front of her and he even knocked her unconscious after he hit her in the face. She had stepped away to take a phone call while the two were on set. She said he confronted her outside, lunged toward her, took her phone and threw it. He then insulted her verbally, and when she insulted him back, he struck her multiple times and her head hit the concrete, rendering her unconscious. She sued him for more than $1 million. And he actually failed to show up in court or respond to the allegations. And at number 1 on our list, no surprise here, we have Naomi Campbell. Supermodel Naomi Campbell famously threw a BlackBerry at her PA Amanda Brack. Amanda revealed on the Tyra Banks show that Naomi attacked her no less than 3 times, spat in her face, she cut up her passport and threw it in a swimming pool. And the BlackBerry incident? They were in Mexico when Naomi, quote, cornered her against a wall over problems with flights and luggage. She got very upset and slammed her BlackBerry in the assistant's face. Naomi's hairdresser intervened and saved Amanda. Naomi is apparently very difficult to be around. She also treated another personal assistant in the same manner, Amy Castaldo, who had quit after being subjected to a lot of abuse. Abuse like headbutting, biting, pulling her to the ground by her hair, and calling her a worthless bitch. She also threw a phone at the head of her housekeeper, she caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage to a yacht belonging to her former lover, and she had a breakdown outside of one of her ex's flats in London at 3:30 in the morning. Coming into the number 10 spot we have Sandra Bullock. Other than being one of the most highly paid actresses in Hollywood, Sandra Bullock is a notoriously private person. She's even become more private since she adopted her 2 children, Louie and Layla. Her assistant said that she always has to make sure the curtains in her home are kept closed at all times. She's terrified of the press seeing into her place and she's paranoid about them taking photos. Which is fair. I just picture Sandra Bullock like peering out of the curtains. Sandra Bullock is also known to have a pretty bad temper and she takes it out on her assistant. According to a witness, while they were standing in line for a coffee, Sandra Bullock berated her assistant for being 5 minutes late. Now obviously we weren't there, maybe this assistant is late all the time, you know? Don't be late next time, huh? At number 9 we have Christina Aguilera. Former employees have revealed that Christina Aguilera liked to spice things up in the bedroom with role playing. When she and Jordan Bratman were married, she would dress up in costume and walk around the house. Definitely must have been fun for Jordan, not so fun for her assistant, who would have to pick up maids' dresses, nurse uniforms, and other risque clothing off the floor. Like, before or after sex? Was there foreplay? Was she wearing it? That's nasty. That's the kind of shit that you'd probably use tongs to pick up. You know, there's some like tongs. Is this yours? Unfortunately, as you know, the spicing up didn't really work because Christina Aguilera and Jordan Bratman are now divorced. And at number 8 we have Kristen Stewart. There are lots of pictures of Kristen Stewart smoking around the internet. She's almost always pictured with a cigarette in her mouth. Not sure if you guys have ever lived with a smoker before, but it gets real gross real quick. According to her former assistant, Kirsten, quote, puffs away like a chimney and leaves cigarette butts everywhere. In the shower, in the potted plants. Oh, not in the plants, man. Why you gotta do that to the plants? And once they found a cigarette butt inside the fridge. I'm not sure why someone would continue smoking in this way, but her addiction has actually cost her work. Rumor has it Chanel cancelled their contract with Kristen Stewart over her unhealthy lifestyle. But like, didn't Coco Chanel smoke like a chimney too? Pretty sure she did. It's not woke anymore. At number 7 we have Khloe Kardashian. Khloe likes to come off like the perfect housewife candidate. She likes to make people think that she can bake. She can't. You know that from watching this channel. She also likes to pretend her house is perfectly clean and organized at all times. But Khloe doesn't actually do any of the cleaning herself. One of her assistants told Radar Online that Khloe doesn't lift a finger. She just barks orders at her assistants and housekeepers to have the cookies and other goodies displayed so that they will look good on camera. This is for the videos on her paid apps. Now granted, if I were rich and famous, I would probably pay someone to clean for me too, like, I don't know, I just don't like doing dishes, you know? But the assistant also claimed that if the food isn't displayed the way she wants, she will dump it upside down and make them do it all over again, which kind of reminds me of like Cinderella's evil stepsisters. Not gonna lie. I didn't call her ugly stepsister, I said evil. At number 6 we got Ryan Gosling. Okay, so there's few women on earth who aren't in love with Ryan Gosling. My mom thinks he's ugly, but I think he's dashing. Sorry, I just had a daydream about Ryan Gosling. But just because he's a mega babe on the screen, that doesn't mean he's not a total weirdo when he's in private. First of all, he enjoys getting waxed, which is like, who in their right mind enjoys getting waxed? He waxes both his chest and his back a couple times a month. He hates having hair. No hair allowed. Hopefully the assistant doesn't do the waxing themselves. And one of Ryan Gosling's housekeepers famously claimed that he walks up the stairs on all fours, he sleeps with his head at the foot of the bed, and he pees sitting down. So wait, does that mean Eva Mendes sleeps next to Ryan's feet? Like, I'll take it, I'll do that. I don't mind. At number 5 we have Selena Gomez. Selena is a slob, and not just in a leaves her dishes lying around the house kind of way. Selena is known to have a quote lack of respect for other places and can completely trash a hotel room in less than 24 hours. She'll leave makeup stains all over the bed, likely because she doesn't take off her makeup before she goes to sleep. How do you not get like pimples? She'll leave food wrappers all over the place, she doesn't clean up drink spills, and she also leaves her undies lying around for her assistant to pick up. That's nice. Tongs again. Is this yours? At number 4 we have Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart admitted herself in a blog post that she keeps her assistant Shakipe Barisha very busy. Busy with organizing. Barisha was tasked with organizing all of Martha's cosmetics into labeled clear plastic tubs in the basement dressing rooms of her winter house. Martha has a winter house. Of course she does. Martha said in a blog post, one by one she removes items from the bins and recategorizes every item, reevaluating what is still usable and discarding items that are too old or expired. This process is tedious, but it's always good to clean out makeup and other beauty care supplies every few months. Now I mean, listen, I'm a Virgo, so I actually love organizing, and I didn't think this was so bad when I read it. But then I saw how many cosmetics Martha Stewart has. It's a lot. That's a lot. In at number 3 we have David Beckham. In 2004, David Beckham's personal assistant, Rebecca Luz, said in an interview that she had an affair with David Beckham. Rebecca is a Dutch glamour model and former TV star who actually gained fame after she came forward with these allegations, so maybe it was all to like get some press time, who knows. She says the affair began with flirting and texting and gradually developed into a bond. But after a while the relationship was purely physical, which made her feel quote, dirty and cheap. So sleeping with a married man didn't make you feel dirty and cheap? Cool. Beckham always denied her claims, and while he and Victoria Beckham are still married. Rebecca now lives a very private life as a yoga teacher in the Dutch mountains. In at number 2 we have Garth Brooks. I haven't heard that name in a while. Garth Brooks' former assistant Lisa Sanderson, who worked for him for 20 years, sued the country's superstar for $425,000. She said he was quote paranoid, angry, deceitful, and a vindictive man who would turn against those closest to him on a dime. She tried to get him a career in television and movies, but he was his own worst enemy. He refused to work with anyone because he didn't want to share the limelight. He supposedly turned down a role in Twister because he felt the part would be outshined by the tornado in the film. You can't make this shit up, guys. A tornado! Brooks' lawyers denied the claims. And at number 1 on our list we have Robert De Niro. I am really sad that he ended up on this list because dude, I love me some De Niro, but he's actually one of the worst cases I've come across. Like, this is some Weinstein if it's true. De Niro was sued for $12 million for gender discrimination by his former assistant, Graham Chase Robinson. She claims that he would make abusive and sexist comments toward her. He also engaged in inappropriate conduct and, quote, gratuitous unwanted physical contact. This treatment was proven in a recorded phone call where De Niro berated Miss Robinson repeatedly for not answering his calls. The lawsuit also states that she was underpaid because she was a woman. She was called, quote, a brat, and she could get pregnant using sperm from a married male co-worker. Last allegation, De Niro supposedly urinated during phone calls with her, met her wearing only a bathrobe. Why is it always a bathrobe, man? He would ask her to scratch his back and allowed his friend to slap her on the butt and didn't do anything about it. Starting off our list at number 10, we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale is supposed to be one of the most volatile and difficult people to work with in Hollywood. Bale's former assistant Harrison Chung also wrote a book about his experience working for him, saying that he needed 5 years of therapy to get past his Bale years. Chung says that he witnessed Bale lecturing fangirls about bothering him to the point where these fangirls started crying. When Bale received a fan letter, he told Chung the fan should be eliminated with a, quote, screwdriver thrust through the eyeball into the brain which prevents any screaming. I guess there's definitely a reason why he got the role of American Psycho. Yes, because he's a psycho, get it? And at number 9 we have Lance Armstrong. Right around the time Lance Armstrong was stripped of 7 Tour de France titles by the US anti-doping agency, his former assistant came forward to expose him in a pretty terrible expose for Outside magazine. Mike Anderson was Lance Armstrong's assistant starting in 2012. He claims that Armstrong returned from Europe with cash stuffed into his pants from races he did under the table. He would avoid World Anti-Doping Agency tests, and while he was at Livestrong events, he would mutter things like, "I hate these effing things." He also left his wife in a very, quote, cruel and abrupt fashion. And at number 8 we have Anna Wintour. I could not do this list without talking about the most famous example, Anna Wintour, who was exposed by her former assistant Lauren Weisberger. After she graduated from college, Lauren got a job at Vogue magazine as an assistant to the editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour. Lauren went on to write a book that resembled her experience working at Vogue and Anna Wintour herself very closely. It was called The Devil Wears Prada, and it was a novel about a girl who got an assistant's job at a fashion magazine where she worked for a mean dragon lady editor-in-chief called Miranda Priestley, later played by Meryl Streep. The book and the movie portrayed the editor-in-chief as pretty much the worst kind of boss, emotionally abusive, judgmental, and demanding. Anne wasn't actually too upset about the book or the movie. She did redecorate her office after the movie came out, which was eerily similar to Miranda Priestley's, but at the time she said, I quote, "Anything that makes fashion entertaining and glamorous and interesting is wonderful for our industry." So I was 100% behind it. And I mean, she was played by Meryl Streep, which is pretty much like goals. And at number 7 we have Courtney Love. Courtney is one of Hollywood's strangest characters. We know this from her bizarre relationship with deceased Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain, but her former assistant actually sued her in 2012 when she didn't receive payment for the job she'd done. Jessica Labrie had a list of strange job criteria as her personal assistant. She worked for $30 an hour, she was going to receive a full ride scholarship to Yale, her job title was assistant and, quote, forensic research aide, and she was supposed to get the opportunity to work on a Nirvana biopic. But Jessica claims Courtney Love didn't pay her basic wages. She made her work overtime, didn't pay for the Yale scholarship, and even asked her to do illegal tasks like hiring a computer hacker, and she wanted her to pose as a lawyer. Jessica also told the press that while she worked for her, Courtney Love acted with a, quote, improper and evil motive amounting to malice or despicable conduct. At number 6 we got Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neill claims Lady Gaga was nothing short of a monster. A monster who owed her almost $400,000 in unpaid overtime during her 13 months working for her. Jennifer would do everything for Lady Gaga, and she was on duty 24 hours a day. She often wasn't given time off for breaks, meals, or even sleep. The lawsuit states that her duties included ordering Gaga's meals, making sure her outfits were on hand, the, quote, promptness of a towel following a shower, and serving as a personal alarm clock. For all of this, Jennifer was paid $75,000 a year, which is like, that's not enough. Gaga's assistant before O'Neal, Angela Siemny, also claimed that she would sleep and take showers with Lady Gaga because she didn't like being alone. Halfway there now at number 5 we got Tony Robbins. 9 former staffers and followers of Tony Robbins came forward with many accusations of sexual misconduct this past year. Kimberly Stokes, who worked as Tony Robbins' live-in personal assistant, had a lot of things to say about Robbins as part of a BuzzFeed expose. She recalls one time where Robbins walked into her bathroom while she was showering and dropped his towel, exposing himself. This wasn't the only time Robbins made a pass at her in this way either. To make matters worse, Stokes was a survivor of abuse as a child, and Robbins knew that. Another former assistant, Kate Ratass, said that she considered seeing Robbins naked as quote part of her job, but also saw his teachings as life transforming. In at 4 we got Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was called out by his former assistant Starway for owing him $30,000. Starway said that he worked for Soulja Boy for a total of 5 weeks, and during that time period he did everything for him. He lived with him in his house the entire time and took care of his day-to-day. He also says he shot around 15 music videos for him, which he was never paid for. It seems like Soulja took this guy for a bit of a ride. He does have the reputation of being like, I don't know, just like not having any money. He's uploaded photos of fake stacks of money to Instagram for years, and according to his financial advisor, who was also owed money at the time, Soulja hadn't paid him because he only had $1,000 in his bank account. Damn, or should I say, ooh, Soulja Boy up in it, ooh. Guess he's still not making money off of royalties, because nobody likes that song anymore. In at 3 we have Whitney Houston. Whitney's former personal assistant Robin Crawford finally addressed rumors that she and Whitney were in a romantic relationship in a tell-all book, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. Crawford was one of the first people to tell Houston's mother, Sissy, about her drug habit. And in terms of their romantic relationship, according to Robin, they were lovers and Whitney was a lesbian. Everyone close to them knew that there was something going on. Whitney's mother, Sissy Houston, was against their relationship, saying it was unnatural for 2 women to be that close. Even Whitney's husband at the time, Bobby Brown, did not like Robin Crawford. While on tour in 1991, Robin and Whitney would share a hotel room. Yet Whitney tragically lost her life in a hotel room with cocaine in her system. She drowned in a bathtub. In at 2 we got J-Lo. If you work for Jennifer Lopez, she doesn't let you talk or make eye contact with her. Her new assistant job description is as follows. Must have thick skin, be graceful under pressure, resourceful in foreign countries. They must be on call 24/7, be able to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler's away. Oh, and this next bit is the icing on the very, very saucy cake. If you're J-Lo's personal assistant, you have to know when it's J-Lo's snack time, even though she won't say when she's hungry. You're expected to have food waiting for her. Okay? Also, according to J-Lo's several former assistants, they weren't allowed significant others or vacations.
Coming at number 10, Kourtney Kardashian. Now, although Kourtney may seem like one of the more rational Kardashians, this story from her former nanny is a bit nuts. A nanny who had previously worked for the reality show star exposed Kourtney and her ridiculous requests. While speaking with Star Magazine, the ex-nanny revealed that Kourtney demanded to never be called by her first name. Instead, she preferred to be called Madam, not Ma'am, but Madam. In the interview, she says, "She asked me to call her Madam at all times. I once slipped up and called her Kourtney and she threw a hissy fit. I never made that mistake again." Yeesh. Coming at number 9, Lady Gaga. Back in 2013, Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neal went after the singer, claiming that she was taking her to court for unpaid overtime wages. Within the court documents, Jennifer said that she had to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, adding that she even had to frequently sleep in the same bed as Gaga because she never had her own hotel room while they were on tour together. Plus, it was faster if Lady Gaga needed anything in the night. According to Gaga, though, she claimed that Jennifer was suing her for money that she didn't earn. Jennifer was asking for nearly $400,000 in overtime pay and further damages after having to be at the singer's beck and call from 2009 to 2011. Her annual salary for this job was $75K, and in the deposition, Lady Gaga said that she didn't deserve a penny more. Although something must have happened because later court filings say that they had come to a settlement outside of court. In a break, Christian Bale. Harrison Chung worked as Christian Bale's personal assistant for over a decade and even wrote a book called Christian Bale, The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman. And the stories he tells about the star in this book are absolutely insane. In one portion exposing Bale, he says, "If Christian was away filming on location, I would take care of his 5 pets, along with stray possums in the backyard as a special request. I would do anything from sniffing Christian's armpits for BO right before he hit the red carpet to making emergency sock runs if Christian was all out of clean ones. Sometimes Ben's duties were as exciting as traveling to film festivals and as dull as watching Christians surf in case something needed to be done on shore. I just can't get over the fact that he actually hired someone to sniff his armpits. Harrison would later tell the Daily Mail that it took 5 years of therapy to get past the post-traumatic stress he had from working with Bale. In at number 7, Scott Rudin. You may have never even heard of Scott Rudin before, but he actually holds the unofficial crown of being Hollywood's most feared boss. Forever he was upheld as being this legendary producer of The Truman Show and many other big films, although his revolving door of former assistants revealed some pretty wild stories about him. Apparently he had as many as 250 assistants from the year 2000 to 2005, one of which was fired for bringing him a bad breakfast muffin. What's crazy here though is that even as his ex-assistants blasted him in the press for how terrible he was, he just embraced it and claimed to have an unforgiving management style. Although that certainly does not excuse the accounts I read about assistants being overworked, dealing with his random fits of rage, and having the occasional object tossed at them. Coming in number 6, Ben Stiller. Usually when we see Ben Stiller on screen, he's playing this nice guy, but as we all know, celebrities are usually quite different in person. And according to a former assistant that worked with Ben during his time on the set of Zoolander, Ben can be quite bizarre. On his first day working, this assistant was told all of the do's and don'ts of handling Ben Stiller's every need. In fact, there were even specific instructions about how he liked his iced tea. According to them, it had to be unsweetened, and then it had to be sweetened with 1.5 packs of Splenda inside and 16 ounces of unsweetened iced tea on top of that. The assistant recounted one time that they brought Stiller his iced tea in a paper cup, and then he was told to get a glass, put more ice in the glass, then pour the iced tea from the paper cup into the glass. Then upon obliging to this request, Ben took one sip and said, "What the hell is this?" And he was referring to the condensation that had formed on the glass, which would have been avoided had he just drank out of the paper cup. But regardless, he asked his assistant to continually wipe off the condensation for him. Apparently Ben doesn't like it when his hands get wet, because if he has to shake someone else's hands, then they might think that he has sweaty palms, and that's a no-go apparently. And at number 5, Charlize Theron. According to an interview Charlize Theron's former assistant did with Star Magazine, the assistant was not allowed to speak or even look at her. Then one of her former nannies also revealed that if she had anything to communicate with her boss about the kids, she actually had to just write it down in a diary. Not exactly the best way to inform a parent about what's been going on with their own kids. Hopefully she put in some exception in case of emergencies, because I could see a number of ways that this terrible, terrible rule could go wrong. She can't even say that she just doesn't have time to talk to them, because if this diary thing is true, then she has to find some time to sit down and read the odd journal entries from her staff. Like, I just picture Charlize Theron sitting there and just, "Dear diary, I hate my boss." I wonder if anyone's actually wrote that. They should. They should. Maybe on your last day. I guess that would be your last day if you wrote that in there. Either way, let's move on to the next one. In at number 4, Jennifer Lopez. Believe it or not, but Jenny from the block has had an awful history of treating employees of hers poorly, from chauffeurs getting tired of driving her around without proper meal breaks, to people like her makeup artist being shunned after accidentally leaking details about her marriage to Mark Anthony. Although nothing compares to what her former assistant told Gawker about. According to the assistant, this is what J-Lo said she required from them. The person has to be graceful under pressure, have thick skin, and be resourceful in foreign countries. You'll be on call 24/7, you have to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler is away. You have to know when J-Lo has her snack time, she won't say she's hungry, and you're expected to have food waiting. Wasn't that nice? In number 3, Naomi Campbell. This was one of those more infamous cases of a celebrity being exposed by their former assistant, and it still is actually a reputation that Naomi lives with today. In 2007, Campbell pleaded guilty to attacking her maid by hitting her in the head with a cell phone. As a result, she had to take anger management classes and serve a 5-day sentence of community service, plus cover her maid's hospital bills. The assistant also claimed that she grabbed her by the arms and threw her down on a couch. And during an interview with Elle magazine in 2013, she discussed this and said that she regretted losing her temper. Naomi says, and I quote, "I'm never gonna get away from it. It's part of my history. I was remorseful and regretful. I've served, I did that time, and I never want to be in that position again." Coming number 2, Soulja Boy. A report came out from The Guardian that said Soulja Boy the rapper was being sued by his former personal assistant. In the lawsuit, she accused him of doing a number of heinous things, from locking her in a room to subjecting her to all kinds of different abuse. The 30-year-old musician is alleged to have locked the unnamed female assistant in a room for 3 days and her repeatedly during that time. Along with that, the claimant is also alleging that he abused her physically, verbally, and even would withhold her paychecks. The woman began working for Soulja Boy in December of 2018, and according to her, she was expected to not only be available at all times, but also to cook, clean, chauffeur, style his hair, and perform personal assistant tasks for him as well. In return for her working 20 hours a day and 7 days a week, he had promised her a payment of $500 per week. The lawsuit also states that after a month of working for him, he began sending unsolicited and inappropriate photos to her. Not exactly the best kind of boss, but our number one spot isn't either.
Let's start things off at number 10. She parties a lot. We all know that Kim used to be a party girl. I mean, she and Paris Hilton like hung out all the time and they were like best friends. Since she settled down and gotten married and had kids, Kim likes to sculpt a very specific version of herself for the media. A version where she seems like a good girl and the perfect mom. But make no mistake, Kim is a party girl and she goes on benders, often with her sister Kendall. Ugh, Kendall. Of course, most of her partying is done in secret, but her assistants and staff know about it because she comes home drunk as and throws up everywhere. I actually don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming. At number 9 on our list, the crying is fake. There are so many pictures of Kim Kardashian crying on her reality show, her crying face has become a meme. You can literally buy clothing with Kim's crying face all over it. I kinda want it. But all this emotion seems to be is just an act to boost ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Almost every episode Kim cries over like really dumb jewelry going missing, or maybe she'll cry about like scandalous photos being released of her in the press when she posts scandalous photos of herself on her own Instagram. But when she's at home and not on camera, she hardly ever cries and has quite thick skin, according to her assistant. And at number 8, she acts like a tyrant. Okay, there's a difference between thinking you like a queen boo and like having self-worth and acting like a tyrant, especially when it comes to how you treat your staff. Kim ordered Stephanie around day and night, and working for her wasn't glamorous. Stephanie never had a break, and she would be the one blamed if anything bad happened, like a flight got delayed. She said, with all that glamour comes schlepping the bags and suitcases and taking the fall when the car doesn't show up or the flight is delayed or something goes wrong. I fail to see how it's your assistant's fault if the flight's delayed. Are you f***ing kidding me? The flight's delayed? This is outrageous. How could you let this happen? Like, what is she supposed to do about it?
I'm sorry, Kim. Don't hurt me. Don't sit on me.
And at number 7, she's mean. Okay, listen, I think all of us can be mean once in a while. Maybe we've got mean thoughts about people, or we say things that we don't mean things that we don't mean. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim comes off as this really sweet person. But when the cameras aren't rolling, a different Kim comes out. She's reportedly rude to staff who have a hard time being around her, especially when she's in a mood. And apparently she's also quite rude to her mom. This was a quote that Kris Jenner posted on her Instagram. Apparently this is something that Kim said to her. No more Pilgrim Addams family outfits. You have exhausted this look. Move on. We need chic, tight dresses, not this Amish stuff anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I would never say something like this to my mom, even if I didn't like her outfit, which is like some of the time. But if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And at number 6, she doesn't have friends. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Kim used to have high profile celebs on her list of friends like Beyonce. Stephanie revealed that Beyonce and Kim are feuding and often badmouth each other, which hasn't become known because it's done privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's quote better than everyone else, and she tries to be better than everyone else too. Some other celebrities that Kim has cut off include Jordan Woods, Blac Chyna, Taylor Swift, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who's got a big ego, but would any of us act differently in Kim's situation? I guess most of us will never know. I mean, I would like to think that someday I'm gonna have 100 million Instagram followers, but like who knows if that'll happen. Maybe that'll get to my head. Probably would get to most of us, wouldn't it?
Excuse me, do you know who I am? I have 100 million followers. Let me in!
And at number 5, she's a slob. Kim's former staffer said there would be old food in the refrigerator. The trash would be overflowing in the kitchen and the bathrooms. No one would go in there. Kim's bedroom and bathroom are beyond filthy at all times, no matter how often they're cleaned by her many maids. So Kim's got a massive closet. I think most of us can assume that by now. That goes without saying. But when she's getting ready to go out, rather than put her clothes back, she just chucks them all over the place and expects people to clean up after her, apparently. Here's a photo that essentially proves that. Her messy house is also seen when she goes on Snapchat or Instagram stories.
Hey guys, it's Kim. Hey guys.
In at number 4, she's vain. No surprise here. I think a lot of us can be vain from time to time. I mean, when you look like this. But Kim's vanity is on another level. She's obsessed with what she looks like. According to Stephanie, she is so vain that she has staff remove plants or objects if they're in the way of a mirror. And while on holiday at Punta Mita in Mexico, Kim took 6,000 selfies on a 4-day trip. Is that weird? Is that like a lot? Stephanie's also seen in some of these selfies. Granted, I kind of get it. Kim's an influencer and all influencers have to do for their job is take photos of themselves, but I feel like 6,000 selfies might be a little much. Just a little bit. And number 3, she's jealous of Kylie. Now this one pretty much goes without saying, but there's always been rivalry between siblings. Always. Unnamed staff sources say that when Kylie Jenner was named the youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes, there were rumors floating around that Kim was distancing herself from Kylie and trying to convince her sisters to do the same. After all, if it weren't for Kim, Kylie wouldn't be famous at all and wouldn't have had the platform that she successfully used to launch her billion-dollar makeup brand, Kylie Cosmetics. Kim saw how successful Kylie's brand was, and then she tried to start her own cosmetics company, KKW Beauty, and it's nowhere near as successful as Kylie Cosmetics. And at number 2, she's got low self-esteem. Remember those photos from that vacation? The cellulite photos? Yeah, those absolutely destroyed Kim. And I think if our squishy bits were plastered all over every tabloid in America, we would feel pretty terrible about ourselves too. I do have to commend Kim though. Instead of feeling sorry for herself, she started a strict diet and workout regimen. She now works with a personal trainer 6 days a week. She doesn't eat processed food. She doesn't even eat bread or salad dressing. The only thing that she allows herself to eat on a snack day is like banana bread. And she looking good. And at number 1, she's not the mother she appears to be. The picture social media paints of Kim is that she's this amazing mother to her children, but as soon as the cameras are not rolling, Kim has 3 nannies that are always looking after them. She fits visits into her schedule with her children, but they are very short visits. This is what a source said, and that source also told the Mirror it's a well-oiled machine with 3 nannies moving around the house, bringing the kids in for a quick Snapchat with mom, then whipping them away again if they start to cry and make a fuss. There's actually photo and video evidence of Kim being like not the best mom. There was that time that North fell down and Kim didn't help her up. She just like looked at her phone. And then there was also that time that she forgot North in the car. And there was also that time where she forgot North in the hotel and like went out to the car and then went back and got her. I actually think she debunked that claim, but you get my point.